another edition of Windsor Teachers, the second episode of the series talking about Cambyses II, a Achaemenid Persian king, and his interactions with other peoples. If you're coming in at episode 2, you might want to catch episode 1 first, all about Cyrus and his interaction with other peoples first. Next up to the Achaemenid Persian throne is Cambyses II, who is Cyrus's biological son. He was sent home by Cyrus during Cyrus's battle with the Massagetae, or just before, in order so that he could be kept safe and Cyrus's line secure. Next, he sets his sights on Egypt, which is around here. Now, first showing talent as a commander, Cambyses II manages to get one of the current pharaoh, Amasis II's advisor, to defect and change sides over to him. And then he learns some very important cultural information about the Egyptians that's going to help him in the upcoming campaign. He also shows quite a lot of talent and skill in befriending the desert Arabs, who show him where all the best watering holes are and how to set up trade routes through the desert to keep his massive standing Persian army supplied. This leads directly to his success at the Battle of Pelusium in 525 BC. Having learned from the advisor of Amasis II that cats are very culturally significant in Egyptian religion, supposedly he instructs his Persian army to use cats as body armor so that the Egyptians were too afraid to fire any arrows or fight the Persians, since they were a holy creature and the embodiment of the goddess Isis. However, Herodotus goes on to say that no sooner had Cambyses entered the palace of the previous pharaoh Amasis, that he subjected Amasis's corpse to all sorts of indignities. He has the body exhumed, where he subjects it to all kind of ill treatment, such as whipping it with whips, stabbing it with sharp sticks, plucking its hair, and finally setting the body on fire. Egyptian burial traditions were very, very complex, involved a lot of embalming, a lot of wrapping with linen, a lot of incantations and ritual and ceremony that could add up to a number of weeks. And so in his poor treatment of Amasis' body and his disrespectful and undignified treatment of his body, it is a large insult to the Egyptian people. So while Cambyses II did start out positively, with some positive relationships with the Egyptians before the campaign, the desert Arabs during the campaign, however, this is sort of the main crux of his relationship, now the final nail in the coffin of his relationship with the Egyptian people. Having conquered Egypt, Cambyses II now sets his sights further south, towards Ethiopia. Now, contrary to his reputation as a relatively talented commander in his overtaking of Egypt, it is said that he makes absolutely no preparations whatsoever for his Ethiopian campaign. Obviously, he comes back not much longer, utterly defeated and missing a vast portion of his army. Upon his return to the cultural center Memphis for the Egyptians, he finds the Egyptians celebrating the festival of the sky god Ptah. He interprets this as the celebration of his defeat, and upon calling his advisors to the Egyptian advisors to him, they tell him that it is simply a festival, an important part of the Egyptian religious calendar. He does not believe the Egyptian elders and has them immediately executed. Not only this, but he takes his insult one step further. He slashes wildly at the Apis bull, which the Egyptians believe to be the physical embodiment of the sky god Ptah. However, the Egyptians get the last laugh. Cambyses eventually gets his comeuppance and dies of a gangrenous wound that he inflicts upon himself by accident in the same place on which he slashed at the Apis bull. It is worth noting at this point that Herodotus paints Cambyses II very much as a madman who has lost his mind. Having said that, he shows some moments of remarkable clarity, such as in the planning and steps taken to ensure the success of the Egyptian campaign. There is also the curious incident of some contemporary Egyptian sources speaking very positively of Cambyses II. However, having made that spectacular entrance into Egypt and desecrating the body of their pharaoh, it seems likely that these positive accounts by the Egyptians of Cambyses are probably lip service to keep him happy and keep his tyrannical behavior under wraps by praising him with positivity. Thank you very much for watching and listening. Please tune in for next episode where we will discuss Darius the Great and his interaction with other peoples.